let's move on. We're going to move from Buffalo, the one desperate team that Colin Cowherd said, and we're going to move on to another one he mentioned in Cleveland. However, Cleveland on the offensive side of the ball this year, they bring in, I know that when we were talking pre-podcast, Mark's like, I want to keep this discussion on the players, and we will. But this offense is going to look good, and I got to mention his name because of the Wolverine, Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson for sure. He's a great coach to have. Now, I know before, I think it was a couple weeks ago where, I think it was an ESPN article, maybe NFL.com, we're talking about how they think it's so dumb for him to have tied himself to RG3. For his first time in Cleveland, now he's tying himself to RG3. They think it's dumb.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because I think that it's a fresh start. Nobody has high expectations for Robert Griffin III. So I don't think that's anything to be really that concerned about. For my thought on it is, I think that the Cleveland Browns offense is going to be the most surprising offense in the NFL next year. I think that with Terrell Pryor, who is impressing everybody just with these freak catches, because that's what we all love. But the thing about Terrell Pryor, he's not, wide receiver 1. He's not wide receiver 2. He's going to probably be wide receiver 3. We have 2 for a little bit, for about 4 games, and then he'll be 3. We have Corey Coleman, just got drafted, first round. We have Josh Gordon, a former Pro Bowler, just coming back off of his indefinite suspension. Now it's only 4 games.
And don't forget Big Game Barnage. Gary Barnage is still there, I believe.
There are a lot of pieces to the Cleveland Browns puzzle. So then when you have RG3, a guy who can do it on the ground with his legs, a guy who can kind of keep the defense guessing, he's going to make them stay honest, they have a chance to be pretty damn explosive. And for a Cleveland Browns team that has not seen much success in a long time, yeah, the defense is still not very good. Yeah, the run game still is not that great.
That's the thing I want to look at, though. With that run game, Duke Johnson needs to take that step ahead of Isaiah Crowell.
Yeah.
He needs to say, you know what? Fuck it. I know we're doing a running back by committee with the both of us. This is my job. I'm the main guy.
But I'm taking it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just that purely looking at RG3 and these wide receivers that they have, I think that there's going to be a big surprise. And I definitely see that, a guy like Josh Gordon, just because he's missing out on these 4 games, or Corey Coleman, these are going to be the guys who, I don't want to say win people fantasy leagues, but win some fantasy games, because they were that guy you got in round 10, round 11, and they're the ones who are showing up and putting up big numbers. They're going to be one of your top wide receivers, not the whole season. I still firmly believe RG3 gets hurt somewhere between week 6 and week 8. But they're going to be very surprising at the beginning and show that, hey, Cleveland's moving in the right direction. This is not playoff year for Cleveland. This is probably not even much above 500. They might be 8-8 exactly. But I think they're going to surprise and impress in the first half of the season. And they might not be able to win all their games, but they're at least going to show people, hey, these guys got something going on.
Well, I'll say this. First 4 games of the year for the Browns, I got them 3-1. And that's solely on the Eagles. I don't know, that's a toss-up. I wouldn't be surprised if they start out 4-0. Catch the Eagles off guard, catch the Ravens off guard, catch the Dolphins off guard. That week 4 game, I'm sticking by it. I think RG3 is going to come into Washington.
He's got a lot to prove.
Looking like he wants something to prove. Plus, I think that even if you ask him, then he'll say, oh, it doesn't mean anything. I think the fact that Washington let it leak, that Kirk Cousins is, when you look at the ticket for season ticket holders for that game, who's on that ticket? Kirk Cousins. That stabs a little bit.
Yeah,
even if RG3 says it doesn't, that stings a little bit. He's going to play up for that game. I think no way he loses that game. I got the Redskins losing. And then after that, it becomes a dumpster fire. It just straight losses. However, because it's weird. Teams like the Bengals, the Bills, the Jets, the Steelers, the Giants, I don't think they can beat. The Giants maybe, depending on what that defense is. But like games like the Titans, the Chargers, I don't know if I said the Ravens 2 seconds ago. Fuck it, the Ravens again, even on the road. It's games like that which you win those 3. In my standings, you're a 3-win. You're going from 3 wins to 6 wins.
Yeah.
And 6 and 10 would be a fucking get the floats.
It's the parade.
Get the floats from the Cavaliers parade because we're having another one for the Browns.
We're back. We won the championship.
Get MGK. He's hanging from fucking stoplights for this.
I just think that this team, they're moving in the right direction. And that's the thing. They were 3-13 last year. All right. No one's expecting them to be great just because RG3 showed up.
I got him at that again. And here's the thing.
3-13?
I got them at 3-13. I have them going 3-1,
and then losing
everything else.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, it's because can they steal some games? Yes. However, it's some games like the Titans I'm kind of high on this year. I think they're going to be improved. I think the Ravens, they split. Will they go 3-13 exactly like that? No. They're definitely going to steal some games here and then. That's just kind of my gut reaction of where I have them going.
No, I definitely think that, they're, like I said, they're not going to be great or anything like that, but they're moving in the right direction, and they can be one of these teams that has a great passing attack. Mm-hmm. And then everything else isn't as good. It's not up to par, but at least there's something to show promise. We just talked about the Bills, an 8-8 team. They had one of the best running games last year. They were number 1 in rushing yards, but everything else was not good enough. So they weren't able to get above 500.
And honestly, if I'm a Browns fan, I mean, of course you want your team to win, but I wouldn't be too angry if my team... I would kind of hope for 2 top 5 picks this year based on the draft class. Because if you get a top 5 for your pick and a top 5 for that Philadelphia pick, I think that this team is going to be in the best of shape if they can do that, because you can go either one of 2 routes. If RG3 gets injured, like you have always been saying, and I kind of agree with you, he will get injured at some point, then you can take 1 pick at Deshaun Watson, get Leonard Fournette, boom, quarterback, and the best quarterback and the best running back from college this past year, boom, your offense is reloaded. Mm-hmm. Or...
As long as somebody doesn't steal one of these guys before you.
Yeah. Or RG3 can, let's say he plays the whole season, Hugh Jackson's like, hey, you know what? He's our guy. You can still take Leonard Fournette and maybe get a guy like Myles Garrett or Jonathan Allen or even secondary help in Jabril Peppers. So there are guys at the top of this draft, either defensively in Fournette or Watson and Fournette. But I think Fournette needs to be a guy the Browns target in the draft next year.
Or, if they do want to believe in a guy like Cody Kessler, who they drafted this year, just keep stocking things up, because that's what the Browns were this year. It was just stocking up as much as they could possibly get, because, you throw enough out there, something's got to stick. So
throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's basically what was going on here. They drafted as much as they could. They tried to hit pretty much every single position if possible. This team here, they're moving in the right direction. They're the same thing as the Bills, except for I think that the Cleveland Browns understand where they're going as an organization, where the Bills are still thinking one thing but actually doing another. So they're just teams that are going in the right direction, even though they have perpetually sucked. Every year they're terrible. But, something's got to change eventually. Sometimes you change your uniform to a brighter color, and everything gets better.
And I know people in the comment section, mostly on YouTube, so hi guys, I haven't forgot you're there. But most of them are probably doing the same thing they did last week for our Blake Bortles segment, and saying how the title of this video is fucking stupid. But let's answer the question that we asked. Is RG3 an offensive player of the year this season? I'm going to say no with an asterisk. And the reason why I'm saying with an asterisk is because if they go 6-10, they go my 3 wins and steal some of late, I really think this team offensively with a healthy RG3, if he stays all the way through, you're looking at this offense going, holy shit, they got something in Cleveland. They've got something going on. And would it be a definite offensive player of the year in the AFC? No. Also, Tom Brady's going to play really fucking good this year when he gets back. He's going to play angry Tom Brady ball. But you're going to look at RG3 and go, they got something special there.
Yeah, I think that I'm along the same lines as you. If the Browns can somehow get into the playoff race, when RG3 is still healthy,
like 7-9.
Yeah, I think that honestly, Cleveland Browns and RG3, I think he can win it. I really do. If he plays all 16 games and performs like he is capable of, as we saw in his rookie year, if he can get anywhere close to that rookie season, he's got it. He has it. Nobody will have seen it coming. He's got weapons in the passing game for him. But the problem is he's competing with guys, any quarterback. But I'm thinking quarterbacks like a Blake Bortles, like a Marcus Mariota, guys who are so important to their team, and we know that their team's success is going to be based off of them. So, honestly, if people want to believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars as much as they want, Blake Bortles might be the reason they get into the playoffs. Same thing with Marcus Mariota. Might be the reason they get there. Derek Carr could be that reason. You got to look at these quarterbacks for the guys who are going to win it. But hey, to go away from quarterbacks, Brandon Marshall, one of the better, if not best, wide receivers last year. If his team makes it to the playoffs, especially if they steal from the New England Patriots, why not Brandon Marshall? If we're just talking about the offensive player of the AFC, I think a guy like him could do it. But that's getting away from the point.
Could win the offensive player.
Yeah, could win the offensive player.
Well, I'm gonna
getting away from the point a little bit.
Because you brought that up, though. I think Brandon Marshall needs a year like that this year because of his bet with Antonio Brown. Did you hear about that?
I actually don't think I did.
Okay, so basically, Brandon Marshall said to Antonio Brown, "I'm gonna put up I think it's Brandon Marshall has a Porsche." And Antonio Brown has this black and yellow, real nice black and yellow Cadillac. And he goes, if I have more receiving yards than you at the end of the season, I get your Cadillac. If you have more than me, you get my Porsche.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to lose his car.
So that's going down this season. That is, because Antonio Brown accepted that.
That's dumb. That's dumb. Why put this random thing on yourself?
They got enough money. He just buy a new one.
But that's the thing. Your football season only lasts your career only lasts so long, and that money dries up fast.
He could just buy another one. Plus, he's got now it's players and their brand. But just to get back to the Browns to put this up, if the Browns want to go 7-9, I'll give you the games they got to win. They got to get 2 over the Ravens. They got to beat the Redskins, beat the Dolphins, beat the Titans, and then you got to go Giants and Chargers. Those are the 7 wins.
For sure.
Everything else is a loss. Everything else.
The way I answered the question, basically, is it possible? Yes, totally possible. RG3 can do it. If he gets back to form, is it likely to happen? Probably not. But I just want it to be known that this Cleveland Browns, don't be surprised when they have an explosive offense next year. Don't be surprised when they're the New York Giants of last season. Great offense, everything else sucks. Don't be surprised by that because they've got all the pieces in place. RG3 just has to stay healthy.
Okay, so before we move on, let us know down below what you guys think. Browns offense, I guess you can answer the question of RG3 Offensive Player of the Year, but really, what do you guys think of this Browns offense coming into this year?